So there's something I said I was not going to buy at all this year because of budget issues, and then I happened to be in a Facebook group that I probably should not have been on called West Central Hobby Farm, and found a really sweet deal on something, and so we got beehives! So we had to travel a little ways to pick up the hives. They are, it's roughly enough for 2 hives, so I need to pick up a few more things. So we are up by Grand Rapids, Minnesota, actually on the Great River Road, which is cool because it is a road that goes all the way from Minnesota, it follows Mississippi, and goes all the way down to New Orleans, which is, I think, super neat. So it happens that my folks live about halfway between our farm and these kind of people, so we came on just a little road trip, me and my husband, to pick up the hives. It was an incredibly good deal. If I were to buy all this stuff new, it's all the company Man Lake, which is a really high quality beekeeping supply company. So it's all Man Lake stuff, and if I were to buy it all new, it would have been a little over $1,000, and we got it for less than $400. Now, I will say that it's typically not advised to buy used beekeeping equipment because there are things that can carry over, especially in the brood comb, and some stuff that can even get into the wood of the hives, that kind of diseases and things that you don't want to have in your hives. But a lot of the equipment, from the looks of it, hasn't even been used or lived in by the bees, so I think we are still getting a really great deal for some equipment. So I'm not planning to actually buy bees this year. It's getting to be a little bit late in the season, and also, like I said, the budget I had kind of set aside for buying a honeybee setup or getting started with beekeeping had to get put into hay because the drought was so bad last year. Hay prices were double what they were typically. So, and then again, like I said, this was just a really good deal, so we decided to jump on it. What I am going to do is I'm going to try and set a swarm trap, not so much a trap, but a lure, and try and see if I can lure in some freebies. So just come along with me here. I've watched some other YouTube videos, done some reading, and I'm going to try and set a pretty simple swarm trap, and if we catch bees here the next couple of weeks, great, and if not, no big deal. So the first thing you want to do is scrape off all the wax and propolis that you can. Just using your hive tool works best. It's nice to do this on a slightly warm day. Have your little helper there if possible. Get it all cleaned off. And then next you are going to scorch it. I'm doing this after bedtime, which is kind of nice. I recommend using a bigger torch if you have one, like a flame weeder. It took about 1,000,000 years. You want to either burn it off completely or at least see it boil. And in the end, you'll have all your equipment looking nice and toasty, just like it is a big marshmallow. So again, using a blowtorch took a very long time, so I recommend something bigger. The next step, step 3, is to freeze it. I happen to have room in our upright freezer that I put all the equipment in, and it needs to be in the freezer for 48 hours, and that will neutralize wax moth and other larvae. Next thing, I'm going to be utilizing my daughter's kiddie pool and filling a 5-gallon bucket of water and dumping that in. 5-gallon buckets, it depends. Some buckets have a mark where 5 gallons actually is, and mine did. So I was able to fill it correctly, and then adding in 1 gallon of bleach. So it's 1 part bleach to 5 parts water, and I found this was a good amount, but check, these things aren't a full gallon, so I did have to use 1 whole thing of bleach here plus a little bit. So it was around probably $8 worth of bleach. And then you need to soak all the hive parts and all your hive tools in the solution for 20 minutes each. And that is said to actually get rid of and treat American foul brood. And so it took me probably a whole day. That solution is good for 24 hours to run through all this equipment. So all of this was scraped, frozen, burned, and put through a bleach solution. After that, all that was left was to put my hives together, and then I am using the very popular lemongrass to try and set a little bit of a lure. So I soaked this Q-tip in lemongrass and put it inside my boxes, and then I also put a little around the entrance, and then set kind of my little lure, which we'll see if it works or not. So that is what I did to sanitize, hopefully sanitize thoroughly, my new hives so I don't become one of those cautionary tales. And that's what I did to set up a very laid-back swarm trap. And we'll see if we catch anything. Kind of the saying, the old farmer saying they have, is that what a swarm in May is worth a load of hay, a swarm in June, a silver spoon, and a swarm in July isn't worth a fly. So got a couple weeks left here that I could potentially maybe catch a swarm. I think I am going to try making one of those bucket swarm traps where you take like a 5-gallon bucket and you drill a hole in it and put some good smelly stuff in there and hang it from a tree. So I might try that too. We'll see what happens, and we'll go from there. So stay tuned, see if we catch some freebies. Tune in next week, as always, for another video about farming, family food, and fortitude here at our Rough and Tumble farmhouse.